Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the 17th of February, a beautiful Friday morning. I hope everyone watching is doing well as well. This is the Muslim Insight, a show that brings you the review of the Friday Bulletin as well as the weekly report on happenings across the country. Before we get into it, first we give you the headlines.
It's very, very important to have blood waiting for patients, not patients waiting for the blood.
Blood donation drive. Kenyans encouraged to donate blood as the country holds a nationwide blood donation drive.
We are excited, one, that the citizens are accepting that there is a need for change and are accepting that the competency-based curriculum is the way to go.
CBC survey report released. The competency-based curriculum reports show CBC is the way to go as parents embrace the new education system.
If somebody was to buy this vaccine, it could cost him not less than 2,000 shillings. But we are giving it free of charge.
Free cholera vaccine. Over 2 million Kenyans targeted in the free oral cholera vaccination exercise countrywide.
Once again, thank you so much for staying with us here on Horizon TV, and this is the Muslim Insight. We begin our first story on matters concerning the health in the country. The government has launched a crucial step in ensuring that cholera is eradicated across the country. The campaign started earlier this week, targeting 2.2 million citizens. The government targeted various counties in the country, including Nairobi, Garissa, Tana River and Wajir counties, as well as the Dadaab refugee camps. This is in light with the issues facing various counties in surge of the cholera outbreak. I bring you the rest of the story.
The 5 counties targeted by the campaign include Nairobi, Wajir, Tana River, Garissa and the Dadaab refugee camps. The Ministry of Health, in partnership with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, US CDC and others, is determined to bring the current cholera outbreak under control and prevent future outbreaks.
It's going for 10 days, so it will end on the 20th of February. You realize that we had an outbreak of cholera from last year around October, and a lot of cases were reported from Mathare sub-county. In Nairobi, we had cases from Mathare sub-county, a lot of cases, and a lot of cases from Embakasi East. So this is what informed the decision to do the campaign.
Vaccination teams are moving from house to house and providing the vaccine to those who are eligible to ensure that no one is left behind.
I want to appeal to the people of Mathare to take advantage of this vaccination. Because if somebody was to buy this vaccine, it could cost him not less than 2,000 shillings. But we are giving it free of charge. And we are giving to everybody who is within the age limit that we have said, but not less than 1 year.
Slum areas in Nairobi, especially Mathare slums, have been targeted for the vaccination campaign due to overcrowding and limited access to clean water.
And you know the population of Mathare is 220,000 people. So we are targeting to at least reach 100% of the population of Mathare sub-county.
The government is working hard to ensure there are continued efforts to improve sanitation and hygiene practices in these areas, which will help promote sustainable prevention and control measures.
The importance of the occasion we are performing today, which is mass vaccination of cholera disease, is because cholera is a deadly disease and it can kill it can kill a person within hours of infection, because it causes massive diarrhea and vomiting, which leads to dehydration, and this dehydration leads to organ damages such as the kidney. And when these organs are damaged, this person loses electrolyte and they might die within very few hours of infection.
So what I want to say is I want to appeal to the people of Mathare to take advantage of this vaccination. Because if somebody was to buy this vaccine, it could cost him not less than 2,000 shillings. But we are giving it free of charge. And we are giving to everybody who is within the age limit that we have said, but not less than 1 year.
According to the Ministry of Health, the oral cholera vaccination is safe, effective, and provides long-lasting protection against cholera. The vaccine is a 2-dose regimen, with a second dose given after a period of 2 weeks.
So the target population is anybody who is more than 1 year. Anybody who is more than 1 year. And you know the population of Mathare is 220,000 people. So we are targeting to at least reach 100% of the population of Mathare sub-county.
The Ministry of Health has urged all eligible individuals in the targeted counties to take advantage of the free oral cholera vaccination and get vaccinated within the remaining 4 days of the campaign, which is expected to end on 20th February 2023.
Today we are doing mass vaccination of cholera, and we are targeting population above 1 year.
The oral cholera vaccination is a crucial part of the government's overall strategy to prevent and control cholera outbreaks in the country.
Thank you for that. Now, apologies for not having our sign language interpreter with us due to technical issues. Now, moving on to matters concerning education. Earlier this week, there was a report shown by the Twaweza East Africa, and the report shows that 96% of Kenyans are aware of the CBC curriculum, and also showing that majority of Kenyans are able or prefer the CBC curriculum to the 844 curriculum, with 47% saying that the CBC was indeed better than the 844 system. Now we get the rest of the story.
The competency-based curriculum was introduced in the country in 2017 with the aim of improving the education system, with each learner's progress monitored over a period of 2-6-3 years. Amidst concerns raised about the competency-based curriculum CBC in Kenya, many people have voiced their satisfaction with the new education system.
Competency-based curriculum is a curriculum that I have seen it takes care of all the learners, the needs of all the learners, the individualized needs. Like we don't have a learner who is better than the other. All the learners are put on the same platform and they are assessed.
According to the report launched by the Twaweza East Africa at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, 47% of Kenyans prefer the CBC compared to 38% who want the 844 education system, with 17% who want CBC to be done away with.
When we combine better and much better, we find CBC is ahead with 47% compared to 38% that is with who prefer 844. So comparing 47 and 38, that's a difference of around 9%.
The CBC has been praised for its focus on developing critical thinking and problem-solving skills in students.
The country is beginning to witness some of the reasons why we thought we needed to change the curriculum. One of them being what Melena said, to move away from a curriculum that emphasizes more of knowing to introducing application of that knowledge by way of competency.
The survey, which was conducted on the 3rd of November last year, came after the President announced a task force to ensure the proper transition of CBC curriculum from the previous 844 system of education. Despite the positive feedback, the reports show there are still challenges to be addressed, particularly in terms of teacher training and the high cost of the CBC to parents.
In harmony with the findings we found on the challenges that the cost is too high, so if the government can be able to address the cost aspect, probably more citizens will embrace the new curriculum much more compared to the current situation.
The challenge that we're having with our teachers is their capacity for them to interpret what this curriculum wants. So that even if you just talk about basic things such as pertinent and contemporary issues, what is it? And let's bust a little bit this myth we call teacher training. How many of us have literally sat through what we are calling teacher trainings for CBC?
Speaking at the launch, the CEO of Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Charles Ongondo, said they were excited about the implementation of the curriculum.
We are excited, one, that the citizens are accepting that there is a need for change and are accepting that the competency-based curriculum is the way to go.
Kasim Mustafa for Muslim Insight.
Thank you for that. Now moving on, Kenya is holding a nationwide blood donation drive that will continue until the end of February 2023. The drive is aimed at addressing the shortage of blood across the country in hospitals across the country. The drive is coordinated by the Kenya National Blood Transfusion Service. It kicked off at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Nairobi. The drive is aimed at collecting at least 25,000, and we give you the rest of the story.
In this place, our target is 10,000 units of blood. For the whole country, during this time, by the donation drive will go until the end of February, we expect around 25,000 units of blood. So that is our target. And for this financial year, our target is 400,000 pints of blood.
The aim of the drive is to collect at least 25,000 units of blood, which will be used to save lives in hospitals across the country. According to Aisha Dafala, the Kenya Blood Ambassador, said the shortage of blood in Kenya has been a persistent problem, with many hospitals experiencing frequent shortages of blood.
The importance of donating blood is to see that you are saving a life. You know, we have mothers who are giving birth. We have cancer patients who cancer blood is their food, and we know we have accidents which happens. So it's very, very important to have blood waiting for patients, not patients waiting for the blood.
There are many Kenyans who need blood, especially those ones who have undergone road traffic accidents, people who undergo major surgeries, people who have cancer and they need transfusions, even people who are on dialysis, they also need blood transfusions. And we want to make sure that this blood is available to Kenyans.
The Kenya National Blood Transfusion Service has called on Kenyans to come out in large numbers and donate blood.
Out of every 10 Kenyans, 7 need blood. Kwa hivyo ni kitu kubwa. We have major level 5 hospitals which face an acute shortage of blood.
Speaking during the launch of the drive, the Kenya Blood Ambassador Aisha Dafala urged Kenyans to donate blood regularly, saying that one donation can save up to 3 lives.
People are coming out to donate blood because they've realized, and also some they have patients who are in need of blood.
The blood donation drive has received the support of various organizations, including Kenya Red Cross Society, which has deployed its staffs and volunteers to various donation centers across the country to assist in the exercise.
Right now, we have moved away from that. We have digitalized everything. The blood bags have a code, they have a number, they're entered into the system, and they are banked at our 6 regional centers. We are able to track a particular blood pint that has been donated. So Kenyans should just know their blood is safe.
It's very, very important for the youth to be donating, because as you know, I started donating when I was 17 years, and till today I've been donating. So it has molded me. I've had that routine and I've built that culture of donating blood. So normally I tell the youth that it is important for them to donate blood because it molds their life.
Thank you for that. Now moving on to the next story, the annual financial conference was held in Nairobi with the aim of empowering women in entrepreneurship and financial literacy. The conference brought together experts from various fields, including business, finance, and entrepreneurship, to share the knowledge on insights with women on personal finance, savings, investments, and business management.
We are sponsoring this event, which is empowering Muslim women financially. The reason why we are here, or we agreed to sponsor this program, because we offer healthcare services related to women's well-being.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you should feed them, but the most important thing that he mentions in the verse is that he has made wealth as a source of support for our livelihood, for our lives, and even da'wah for that matter, that we cannot do anything, we cannot worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without the wealth, and therefore it is important for women to have that financial literacy.
In business, you always have to get opportunity to network with people, get to know more what they're doing, get to tell them what you're doing. And we've had quite a number of people come into our table. They want to know what Opulence is all about.
We are glad that we got this opportunity. The speeches are very impactful, and we've been displaying our products, and so far it's a good feedback from most of the guests who are here, and we hope for more opportunities like such, because we believe women can make a great change in what we do our best in.
Most important takeaway from it is having women educated on financial literacy is important, not necessarily because they're going to do businesses only, but for them to also appreciate the importance of wealth.
Thank you for that, Mariam. Now moving on, the death toll from a magnitude 7.8 earthquake that struck the southern part of Turkey and the northern part of Syria. The border still is on the rise, according to the Turkish Disaster and Emergency Management Authority. At least 41,000 people have lost their lives and 2,000 more injured. This is according to the reports, and the death toll is expected to rise as emergency and rescue teams continue to search for survivors.
The earthquake, which has claimed over 39,000 lives, has also caused significant damage to infrastructure and property. Many residential and commercial buildings have collapsed or been severely damaged, leaving thousands of people homeless or displaced. Roads and bridges have also been affected, hindering the delivery of aid and relief supplies. The Turkish government has mobilized its resources to respond to the disaster, deploying emergency services, medical teams, and search and rescue units to the affected areas. In neighboring Syria, the earthquake has also caused casualties and damage, though the extent is still unclear due to the country's ongoing civil war and limited access to information. The Syrian government has declared a state of emergency and called on its allies and international organizations to help with the relief efforts. For Muslim Insight, I'm Darmi Mahmood.
Thank you for that. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. But we're coming back with the review of today's Friday bulletin. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties that we have been facing, as well as the absence of our sign language interpreter. But do not go anywhere. We'll be back shortly after our break.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
ويوم نسير الجبال وترى الأرض بارزة وحشرناهم فلم نغادر منهم أحدا وعرضوا على ربك صفا لقد جئتمونا كما خلقناكم أول مرة بل زعمتم أن لن نجعل لكم موعدا.
Uislamu ni dini yenye mpangilio ulio kamili na taratibu zake humpa fursa kila mja kuifahamu na kuelewa.
Muislamu yoyote lazima achukue jukumu la kuifahamu dini yake, kuanzia kwenye shahada, ashhadu, nakiri kwa moyo,
kisha usafi wa kimwili.
Hapo ndipo huanza safari ya kumwabudu Mola wake.
Usikose kujiunga nasi kila siku ya Jumamosi live kwenye kipindi Ufahamu Uislamu, ili ujifunze mengi usiyojua kutoka Horizon TV.
Tazama ukumbi wa fiqhi kwenye Horizon TV. Halal, haram, sunna, wajib, makruh, mubah, ili upate kujua ahkam za ibada kwenye Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for staying with us once again here on Horizon TV. This is the Muslim Insight and I am your host Nadia Osman. Now, we've been having a couple of technical difficulties, but once again, our apologies for that, as well as the absence of our sign language interpreter. But I'm joined by Mr. Musa Mwale. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you this morning?
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, we're bringing once again the review of today's Friday Bulletin, as we always bring you every Friday. So, Sheikh, the first story that we're going to take a look at, and this is on the front page of today's Friday Bulletin. Muslims offer prayers for Turkey and Syria earthquake victims.
Well, thank you very much, and once again, welcome viewers. Actually, the least a Muslim owes the other Muslim is moral support and dua. And this is what what we can offer. Yes, I'm sure with the mobilization of resources by several groups like Jamia Mosque, we will also offer, or we have also offered material support.
Yes.
But more importantly, dua is the most powerful thing that we can offer fellow Muslims in distress. So this is very timely, and of course we will continue beseeching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal the injured and also those who are bereaved, console them, and of course forgive those ones who have departed.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is just to remind, or just to say how much Turkey has always been the helping hand for every single Muslim country that has always found itself in need. Turkey has always been the first to come out and assist them. And this time, you know, in Kenya, alhamdulillah, large groups of people, you know, congregated in the masjid, you know, to offer their du'as and their prayers to the people affected with this earthquake, rather.
Yeah, sure. That is the list we could do.
Yes, it is the list. But there, as you had mentioned, there are mobilizations, for example, Jamia Mosque, where they're collecting funds to be able to assist those who were affected by the earthquake. Now that, once again, is on the front page of today's Friday Bulletin. Now, Mr. Musa, we're moving on to the second story. More Muslims appointed to parastatals, and this is coming from the President William Ruto's administration. They have appointed a significant amount of Muslims, mashallah, in various positions.
Well, I would like to, of course, congratulate the government for this move. However, this is it has been controversial, and still controversial, because people are not, unfortunately, they are not appointed to these positions because they are Muslims.
Yes.
They are appointed because of political expediency, whether it's this regime or past regimes. And therefore you find that maybe a little bit more competent Muslims are left out just because they are not in the right political formation.
Yes.
And therefore you get people either who are related to certain personalities or somehow belong to that political formations are the ones who get rewarded.
Yes.
However, it's good because a Muslim is a brother of another Muslim. And we hope that they will use this opportunity to also bargain for their brothers in terms of policies, in terms of opportunities, that they will not go there and just seek to satisfy and enrich themselves, but rather to look out for opportunities where Muslims can get to participate in the national development. So this is quite a good move, and we should have even much more, because we are 30% of this country, and all we need is we deserve to be in the development agenda of the country.
We do.
Yes.
Now moving on to the second page of today's Friday Bulletin, and once again you can get your copy anywhere. Today is, and the second page rather, is CS Machogu warns on exam enrollment, and this is something that the Cabinet Secretary has come out and said, and this is for parents who are enrolling, removing their kids from grade 7 and making them register for the KCPE examinations. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think the parents are disillusioned with the whole system of education.
Yes.
CBC is quite a very good system of education.
Yes.
But I think maybe it was not properly thought of and implemented. It was implemented in a hurry, and therefore it has caused a lot of disillusionment and pain to parents. So parents are not so sure of whether they want to continue with the 844 or CBC. Quite a number of parents have actually changed the system of education of their kids. They are now doing the GCE, London and all that.
Yes.
Those ones who can afford it, because it's a little bit expensive. Those ones who can't, and now I think those ones who are opting to actually jump one class and take their kids to class 8 to do exams so that they can join Form 1 rather than the junior high. But issues of CBC and exam, this was very good because You know, an exam-based system
yes.
is competitive.
Yeah, it is.
And in competition, there's cheating.
Yes.
And that's where you get the whole foundation of corruption.
Yes.
Because you have to cheat your way into getting a certain privileged position.
Yes.
And once you start cheating in exams, you will continue cheating throughout your life.
Yeah.
You know, you will cheat to get a job, you will cheat to get promotion, you will cheat to get, you know, more income. So the system that the government thought of for the CBC is quite a good system, quite practical. But of course, the implementation is a problem. It has been a challenge, and that's why parents are disillusioned a bit.
Yes.
Yes.
Does this show that the parents who are removing their kids from grade 7 and making them sit for their exams earlier than they expected, does this show that parents are, I'd rather say, dissatisfied with the CBC curriculum?
It's not about dissatisfaction. I think it's just about, as I mentioned, they are disillusioned. They are confused. They don't know what to make of the whole system of education. So they have panicked.
Yes.
And therefore they're trying to jump over, which is quite unfortunate, because a child needs every bit. It's just like a house. You cannot say, I'll build the foundation, then before I build the wall, I go to the lintel or the roof.
Yes.
You know, it needs all the steps.
Yes.
So a child needs to go through all the steps, because they miss out certain foundations and certain basics that will affect their education even in the future.
Yeah.
You know, even when they go to high school, they go to university, they missed out certain things. So I think, I know parents feel really confused.
Yeah, they do.
But I just wish that people could follow the due process and you know, find maybe better alternatives. Because, okay, you take your child to class 8 to sit for exam, and then they don't make it to get good grades to go to high school. What happens if they get below 200? What happens if they get 250 and they are not able to join a good school, a national school?
Yes.
What happens? You again get really disillusioned. You again maybe try to you know, bribe your way into getting a national school, and you subject your child to a very tight competition.
Yes.
And they really now get really frustrated, because you got 280 marks, and you're in a class of someone who got 440, 430.
Yes.
So you simply cannot compete. It's like being put on the same track with the Kipchoge. You know, you can't compete, and it's really frustrating.
Yes, it is.
So some of these things parents, of course, need to think through before they take action, but it is necessitated by the confusion that is within the education sector.
Yes. And moving on to the next story, Oman Embassy funds the rehabilitation of the Lamu Museum.
This is quite timely, very good.
Yeah.
Because you know, when you go down coast, most of our heritage and culture has just gone down the drain. Yeah. You know, restoring Omani, coming in to restore the cultural heritage of the Lamu community is quite good. However, I fear that aspect for purposes of tourism. If they do it, they've done it it's twofold, to preserve the heritage and culture.
Yes.
But the aspect of tourism, because tourism is what, yes, it brings in money, but it also comes with its own ills. And we know that tourism has brought quite good money to the coast, but the coast has not benefited from that money.
It is true.
Instead, the coast has suffered the negative effect of tourism, like, you know, commercial sex, you know, early childhood, school people,
dropping out,
kids not going to school because they would rather go and become beach boys or whatever, work in those clubs or guide tourists around and make money, you know. So that has had a really negative impact on and of course issues of drugs and drug abuse.
Yes.
So for me, the cultural aspect of it yes, it should be preserved.
Yes.
And then we encourage that, and we really would love to get that support. But the tourism part of it, I mean, I'm ish-ish.
You're 50-50.
Yes.
And moving on to Kisumu Muslim Association is set up a hospital project. And this is a very, very positive story, alhamdulillah. And this is the chairman of the Kisumu Muslim Association, Sheikh Musa Ismail, who said the construction of a proposed health facility that will compete with, it will be able to decongest the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. This comes at a time where, when we're talking about devolution, and you're looking at one of the, I think in Kisumu, the largest hospital. So this is a group of Muslims, this is a Muslim project, and they're benefiting the community as well.
This is great because, I mean, for many years, I've been a very sad person because we have spent a lot of time in fighting.
Yes.
And Kisumu Muslim Association has also been in the media or for the wrong reasons,
yes.
In fighting on Waqf and leadership and all that.
Yes.
So for the first time, them coming out to want to do a project or to undertake a project like this is very good, because these are the facilities that we lack. This is what we should be fighting to do.
Yes.
To put in place infrastructure that will help the Muslim community, and of course by extension other Kenyans. So if we have hospitals, we have schools, we have colleges, we will not continue complaining, or we will not, even when there's discrimination,
yes.
we wouldn't really feel it, because we have alternatives. We have alternative schools, we have medical facilities.
Yes.
So I encourage other associations like the Nakuru Association, they have also been really fighting to come up with such a project. Let's have other associations come up with, universities, so that we not only have the 2 universities that we have, the Islamic-based university, but we have maybe each region has a college, a mahad, a university,
yes.
A level 5 or level 6 hospital, a top school, both at primary level and at secondary level. So these are the things that we should encourage our community to have and compete on,
yes.
Rather than leadership and fighting over who controls the Waqf within certain regions.
Yes. Before we move on to page 3, I want us to follow the story up with the story that's on page 7. Garissa Regional Cancer Center officially launched, and this is another, just to state this was opened by the Garissa Governor Nadif Jama. And Mr. Musa, this is a cancer center, now it's going to help people in the county rather than moving to Nairobi. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult. You're sick, you have other, you have other things to take care of, and then you have to also travel to get medical care. What would you say about this?
Cancer is a very expensive disease, and people used to associate it with the wealthy. That is, it's a disease for the wealthy because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And having facilities close by reduces on the stress of traveling. That's the expenses associated with traveling to a foreign place and having accommodation, because yes, if your patient is admitted in a hospital, you need a place, you as a person taking care of them, you need a place for yourself. So if it's within your environment, your home environment,
yes.
it's quite easy. You get a lot of support from relatives and friends who could visit, who could help out in taking care of the sick. So it reduces the costs of treatment. It reduces the stress and the strain of taking care of the sick.
Yes.
And let's just hope that it also will be cheaper to manage.
It is.
Rather than it's closer to the people, but it's also way expensive and way out of their reach.
Yes.
So it's a good move, and we would encourage that other places do have these kind of facilities, inshallah.
Inshallah. Now we go back to the page that we just left, because I wanted us to, still stick on the same topic. And this is on page 3 of the Friday Bulletin, and it's the story that I wanted us to live for us to talk about it in more details. With what happened rather in Turkey and Syria, the earthquake, are we tested or are we punished through calamities? And I think that's a question that a lot of people have been wondering, because now you find everyone having their own opinion, and this is something that the ulamas have also started to touch on. And what would you say about this, Mr. Musa?
Well, once again, I wouldn't say I'm really competent to respond to this.
Yes.
But maybe my 2-cent contribution is that, of course, we are told as Muslims we shall be tested, we shall be tried. We cannot just hope to enter into paradise without being tested. And Allah tests the people He loves most. And that's why the tests that our prophets and the Sahabas and all that went through, we cannot bear it today if we were to be subjected to that. So whether this is a test or a punishment, that can be left to ulama. And I know today there are quite a number of sermons, like in Parklands, I know we shall be having that kind of subject. That's why Allah allows some of these things to happen. So we will get a lot of wisdom from the Friday sermons in different mosques. But for me, it's just to say, well, I don't know whether it's a test or a punishment. But if we read through, if we study our Quran well, our Deen well, we can judge. We can help. It can help us appreciate certain things.
Yes.
Yes.
It's all about patience and understanding that Allah does not burden you more than you can bear.
More than you can bear, yes.
Now we're moving on to page 6, and we have the Sudan and Saudi ambassadors. They're committing to make the Lamu port global getaway. And this is ambassadors from two different nations, 2 different countries. They're coming together to, make change, and this is going to bring a lot of good change to the Lamu County, which they're going to have very soon, inshallah, a port, which is going to help with trade and facilitate trade basically. What would you say about this?
I'm glad this is happening, and the Muslim countries or communities are coming up to assist, in such a national ventures, and especially being that this is a predominantly Muslim area. We just hope that this support will come in also to support the Islamic infrastructure.
Yes.
Like the madrasas, the schools, and other facilities that Muslims can enjoy.
Yes.
Because sometimes you find that when non-Muslim, countries or donors go to a specific place, they come with their own cultural heritages that they really do not augur so well with the Muslims, or they do things without due regard to the needs of the local community.
Yes.
So I hope that the Saudi and the Sudan will put that in consideration, that yes, they are supporting this, but this is an Islamic area, and therefore the interest of Muslims should come first.
Yes.
And that will really help the community.
Hopefully, inshallah. Now moving on to, I think, one of the final topics of discussion is the Isiolo-based Star of Hope Association. Last week, they donated relief food to citizens of Garbatula sub-county, which is in Isiolo as well. And this is one of the organizations that are coming out, to assist or to try and make it easier for residents who are being affected by the ongoing drought. What would you say? Because this is different organizations. These are Muslims who are really doing a lot to help their fellow brothers.
Yeah, good, because this is a local-based organization, and so it understands the needs and the challenges on the ground.
Yes.
Rather than have, an organization, and if for example an organization came from abroad to help us and they're giving us food, they might be giving us food that we really do not consume.
Yes.
So being a local organization, they know the needs of the local. And it's also good to have what we call homegrown solutions.
Yes.
Rather than always looking out, if you can have homegrown solutions. So if the SOHA and any other organization can come up to address the needs and the issues of the local community, it's much better than when we have when we are looking out for people to just come and support us.
Thank you very much for that. And I think that we've touched some of these stories that are of importance on today's Friday Bulletin. Unless there's anything you would like to add, Mr. Musa, before we wrap up the second segment of the show.
Well, I think just to maybe revisit the issue of Muslim appointments, and as I said earlier, that you have been privileged to be appointed or to sit in a certain position, but you should also know that it's an amana, and it's a manna from Allah, but also, of course, your employer. And I think Muslims should demonstrate the best in terms of integrity. You don't get appointed to some of these positions and you go carry, you start engaging yourself in corrupt deals and all that, because it reflects bad. Because I know quite a number of non-Muslims really respect Muslims. Those who have interacted with very good Muslims, they will tell you a Muslim will not do this, a Muslim will not do that. I mean, they trust Muslims. So what we want to see is these, Muslims who've been appointed to continue to carry the Islamic image with them, despite the fact that maybe they were not appointed just by mere fact of being Muslims. But at least let them carry Islam with them. Let them go and do the practical da'wah, not to just talk to people, Islam is good, but demonstrate that Islam stands for justice, Islam stands for integrity, Islam stands for professionalism. When they do that, they are likely to influence other people into deen. But also they are likely to make even the appointing authority want to appoint more Muslims, because they know there are people who can be trusted, there are people who will deliver. You don't have to watch over them.
Thank you so much for that. You've basically finished off with a very, very good advice to those who are holding currently positions of power in the country. And that brings us to the end of our Friday Bulletin review. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Musa, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for giving us your insight as well. And that brings us to the end of our show today. Once again, I am Nadia Osman, and this was the Muslim Insight. I finish off by apologizing for the technical difficulties that we have or might have been facing during the running of the show, as well as the absence of our sign language interpreter. Until next time, inshallah, this is the Muslim Insight.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.